Okay, we just finished up a video on the sunflowers, and let's go back and do this sunflower. And this is the one where I do the color, and then I add the pen afterward. And let's just take our sunflowers and put them, let's make a variety of them, or a group of them, and let's put them in a vase. Let's go ahead and start our flowers first, and then I'll come back in and figure out which vase we want, what shape of vase we want. Sometimes it helps to just kind of get started and get a feel for how the flowers are looking, and then we can decide what vase shape afterwards. Oh, I haven't left a very big center for for that sunflower, but we can come back in on top and make the center larger. This is very much like, well, anyway, it's a layering, definitely a layering. These flowers take some, you put your color down, we gotta let it dry before we get some more color on it, and so it's just a little harder to film when we have to let our colors dry so much. Okay, I'm kind of thinking we may go with a tall, straight vase on this. It's kind of, yeah, this vase just might tip over. These flowers are, sunflowers are large, so let's make that just a little larger there. While the flowers are drying, I'm gonna bring in oh, my pen wasn't dry enough, so it's starting to bleed. I hate it when that happens, but I was adding water here to the vase so we could add some color to the vase. I'll go ahead. Blue's a lovely color with the orange, so I'm going to stay, I went with blue here, and I'm going to stay with blue on this vase here. Blue's always a good choice for orange. And my pen is really making that muddied, and that just disappoints me, but what do? We'll just let it dry, and we can come back in and add some other colors in there too. Okay, so we went there because our flowers were going to dry, needing to dry before we put more colors on them. And while they're still working on drying, I'm just going to bring in some leaves, just start a little bit of leaves on our arrangement here. And again, just like the flowers, I like to layer the leaves so that we've got lots of colors going in our leaves. Now, in between some of these blooms, we'll be seeing some greenery. I don't like it to just be circular. I was going to add some little bit of greenery here, but I think I'm going to bring it here, so I don't look like I'm just going circular there with the greenery. Bring in a little different shade here. Okay, let's come back on our flowers and see what we can do on adding to them. I like that we've got this low one here where the vase, it's kind of on where the top of the vase is. That's one challenge with doing the vase first is sometimes you don't allow the greenery or the blooms to come over the top of the vase because you find you've got that vase going. You've got the top of the vase drawn before you wanted it drawn. So one reason for my doing the vase after I started my flowers. Everything is quite wet here. That makes our video a little harder to keep progressing. I'm going to bring out my heat gun and see what we can do on drying it. Okay, that gives us, I can see one of them, a couple of them aren't quite there. Okay. Oh, that's a little darker than I was thinking I was bringing in, but let's go with it because it's awful cherry. Looks like I've got all my flowers with their faces towards us. Sometimes it's nice to have one bunched up where it isn't the same what orientation as the others. Is that the right word? But that's okay. This is good. Now I don't want to bring in these centers till the flowers are dry, or the petals are dry. Close around them because I do not want my center to bleed out into the flowers. So looks like I can do it a little bit here. I like to bring in, oh, see, starting to, that's all right, bleed in. The centers, I like to bring in a variety of colors. For these dark sunflower centers, I'm going to bring this, make this one much larger. So often the colors that I'll choose for the centers are between a purple and a blue, the browns, never blacks, sometimes even a burgundy. Okay, my centers are kind of muddy a little bit because I put so much on there at once. You can see right here where my vase is not dry yet. Guess I didn't see that earlier. Okay, still a little bit moist, but that'll help us to be able to continue. Let's brighten up our foliage just a little bit. Let's bring in. So in watercolor, we need to work from our lights to our darks, but I am coming back in and bringing some yellow on top of these. I find yellow can come back in just a little bit later and brighten things if needed. The flowers are wet now, so I'm going to move down to the vase again. I think I'm going to try to give it just a little bit. Oh, not doing it. My goodness. There we go. Just bring in a little interest with other little color. Sometimes you can give this kind of a little bit of a water appearance, like there's a little bit of water. You can see through, if it's a see-through vase. I've kind of got my colors a little muddied on my vase right now. They're a little too wet to keep working them like I am. So I'm going to have to leave that alone for a minute. Kind of got everything wet right now on here. But I'm going to bring in a little bit of cheer for these centers. So I'm bringing in a little purple. Oh, that one's too wet. That one's too wet. And this one, I think I'm going to bring in some navy, a little dark on that one. Oops. Okay, now if we can let this dry, actually I can bring in just a little more. I might be able to bring in just a little more color to some of my greenery. Sometimes it's nice to have the darkness at the leaf base. Okay. Oh, look what I just smeared my face. I don't know if I can take that off yet. Oh, not yet. Okay, our video is extending in length here. There's a couple things let me do. We're still a little wet here, but let me just play around with this vase just a little bit. Add just a little more interest here. And since we weren't able to bring in a whole bunch of color right now because it was too wet. Sometimes I'll bring in the greenery of the stems. But let's go back now and quickly just add some little bit of pen to these. And I just quickly make my brush move, or my pen move. And I don't add all the petals by any means, but we're going to give it just a look. Now down here I can see we probably want to do something between the petals and the vase, but it has been just too wet to do some of it. So that's a good start for us here. We're not going to be able to finish it on the video here, but this was another fun thing you can do with your sunflowers. I think I'd come back in with some blues. If I came back in, back in with some green stems. I'd come back in with a lighter blue here on the vase and maybe a little purple, but let's go ahead and we'll just sign our work. And one more fun thing to do with these beautiful sunflowers this fall. Okay, enjoy. See ya.